I invoke the that thou wilt send Heru, the great angel that is set over the operations of this great wisdom, to lay his hand invisibly on these consecrated cards of life, that thereby we may obtain true knowledge of hidden things, to the glory of thine ineffable name. Amen. In the center, we have 3 discs surrounded by the Queen of Swords and the Ace of Cups. There's structure that's forming physically in your life due to your discernment and the choices that you've been making, and the fact that you are directly connected to source when it comes to the emotion. So as far as you could and as deeply as you could be ingrained and as close as you could be to the waters of the emotional world that we all are in, right? So in this existence, there's an emotional realm, there's an emotional aspect, and that's represented by the cups. The ace means that you're embodying, almost like embodying it. You are directly connected to love, to the things that you love. You are the things that you love right now. This is really cool energy. This is like you are what you love, and the things that aren't what you love, you are not allowing them to be in your life. With the Queen of Swords here, the things that aren't what you love are not even going to be allowed to be in your life, whether you know that or not. But that sounds a little bit more faded than what the 3 cards are that we have here, because there's no major arcana here. This is just 1 court. So it's in great deal due to the fact this new formation coming out of the waters, right? Here's the waters. So this is the water. Look around in the Thoth Tarot and in this card here. This is water behind this pyramid. It's basically the water of creation, right? It's the water. So it's kind of like the water that the physical energy sits in before it becomes material. So before things become material, they're hanging out in an invisible kind of watery realm, right? And that's where kind of the emotions and also the suit of air has a lot to do with that too. And she's here. That's what I'm saying. She's cutting out the things that like, let's say this is a petri dish, and she's here with her sword fanning away all of the little things that are trying to get into the petri dish, because this is the thing that's growing in the petri dish. If that's a cool way to break that down for you. It's good. It's cool that we have 3 different energies. So we have 1 earth, 1 air, and 1 water already. So we're dealing with different energies. Let's go to the top row and see what's going on. Cards 13, 9, 5, 4, 8, and 12 in the upper left and upper right indicate 2 potentials for the future. They may complement each other, in which case the cards on the upper left are a development of the cards on the upper right. If they are in conflict, the cards on the upper right may be considered the direction the querent's life will naturally flow unless action is taken to change this course. The cards on the upper left would then be possibilities of alternative action. It seems like it's always hard to tell, as I read from the instruction book, it's always hard to tell for me if they complement or if they contrast. And sometimes the energies are mixed. And so you can't say either way if they're complementing or contrasting. So I really do try to figure that out first. So 4, 8, and 12, which is the upper right corner, right? So this would be the first part of the story. And this would be the second part of the story, if the story is contingent. If the story is not contingent, then this is the direction that things will go in unless a change is made. So this is kind of always like the warning side, and this is kind of always the more, to me, what I would think to be the more faded energy here. And this is the side that's like the warning from the faded energy, right? So 4, 8, and 12, we have oppression, pleasure, and love. And intuitively from this, I'm already getting, I already got like something kind of strange came out, and notice there's a lot of water. Like this is like the water's here. Like this is on this side too. It's like this thing here, this water that means a lot to you, that you're very passionate about. This energy is connected to it. This is the pleasure, the 6 of Cups here, and the two of Cups, which are beautiful cards, but then the 10 of Wands is right by it. Like, I don't like that. Like, to me, this is weird. I got a weird vibe from this whenever the first feeling I got from it was like, let me pull it a little closer so you can see. This is my first stream, so I don't really know what it all looks like yet. This gave me vibes of like you thinking that being in a relationship or being in a loving relationship is actually making you happy, but it's not. And it's not actually making you feel the love. It's giving you pleasure. It's giving you false pleasure, or it's giving you a sense of pleasure that is not sustainable for you. So whatever this is, this love, oppression equaling pleasure, like this to me feels like, because mind you, if I'm correct, let's see, Wands oppose Cups, right? Wands oppose Cups. This is not a friendly seat. This is oppressive physical energy meeting with the eros of two harmonies, and that being too much, and it leading to a sense of pleasure. But that pleasure it should be almost like the 7 of Cups here, I feel like the debauch. So I'm trying to understand, pleasure isn't always Pleasure isn't always pleasure is not always good. Okay, I don't know how to explain this right now, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to help us get through this. Richness of feeling, well-being, and close emotional ties without effort or strain, versus readiness to dive in, but need to make changes to make pleasure possible. Joyful creation, vitality, happiness, health, and success, versus fear of disappointment, caught in prior hurts, guilty conscience, selfishness. Pleasure versus debauchery, unsatisfied, forgetting others' needs. It's weird. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that to me, all of the verses energies are coming in with this readiness to dive in, but need to make changes in order to make pleasure possible. And not only that, because the love is sitting here, it's like it's so emotional for you. Like it's so tied up for you that you're trying to do this. Like it's like, the thing I'm getting now is that it's making you don't like that's where the pleasure is coming from, because you're just happy to be there. You're just happy to like show up. Like it doesn't even, oh, this is the energy I'm getting. Like, you know how when you start a new job and you're just happy to like you're finally just happy to have a job again. You're just happy to like, this is what I'm getting, y'all, from the whole thing. This is everything now. This is kind of how it gets. Like the whole message will come in whenever it comes in. This is what I'm getting. You know how like when you're happy to have like a new job, and it's that feeling where you hadn't had work for a while, so you were really worried about your, like, there's sorrow, magus, and ace of discs over here, so this is kind of coming into it. You were really worried about like everything. You were real emotional and real worried about like everything. And it's like when you show up, there are people there who you're doing this with, right? Or the environment even. Or you're realizing that the task itself, excuse me, is oppressive. Like you realize that in order for you to be showing up, just to be showing up, to like finally be getting there to like make everything better for you, that in order for you to even do that, you're like, this is fucking oppressive. And it's sad, it's sorrowful. That brings a person to sorrow. Like it's very sad to feel like, I'm just grateful to be here. And you're like getting worn out by all the negativity around, by all that. It's not like negativity. There's not like a lot of negativity here, but there's definitely like having to mourn things not going the way you thought they were going to be. And also there's a sense of that the situation is not sustainable. It is not within your capacity. It's simply not within your capacity. There's something that is not emotionally within your capacity. It may be physically within your capacity, okay, but this is emotionally not within your fucking capacity right now, and you got to figure out what to do about it. Again, lucky enough for you, you're solid right now with the Three of Discs. You're solid regardless of like the fact that your emotions are in this uprooted kind of tumultuous place. But getting back to this, there's a sense here that the pleasure that you're getting from doing this may not be sustainable, but the pleasure is outweighing. So let's focus more on like how to make this something that I can actually be giving you advice about. The pleasure that you're gaining from doing what you're doing right now is enough to keep you going, even though you're emotionally kind of not okay. You are also making progress physically. So what we need to do is figure out how to bring you up emotionally. There's a warning here that the thing that you're doing is bringing you a sense of pleasure, but that sense of pleasure is not actually freedom. You're bringing yourself into something that, because this is Eros. This is going to bind you. Like, I love the Two of Cups. It's great. But this is so heavy Venus energy, Venus in Cancer. Like, do you realize how deep, like, this might as well just be an ocean of poison. I'm not trying to like be negative or foreboding. You have to understand, I'm very, very deep into the energies of Venus. Okay. I have a stellium in Libra. I can talk about Venus. Like, I am ruled by Venus. She is the ruler of my nativity. Okay. The forces of love are akin to the force of poison. It's like it sinks into your soul and into your psyche, and it kind of affects you in the way that like a poison would. But it's like the opposite, right? So let's say, like, what is the opposite of poison? A cure, right? Love is like a cure. It really is. Someone loving you can cure you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like this thing that it's very, very subliminal. It's very, very subliminal into the emotional realm. It's like a mist into your heart that is kind of like, it's bringing you pleasure, but that is not bringing you freedom. And that's where we're going to go into the next section. It may be bringing you pleasure, but is it bringing you freedom? Is this bringing me freedom? What I really want is to be free. I don't just want to be pleasure. I want to be free. Right? Because that's what we realize. That's usually what we realize after we do something that we think is bringing us so much pleasure. Give it 3 or 5 days. We go, I just want to be free. Wait, I really just wanted to be free. I thought that I wanted to do this big achievement. I thought that I wanted all this acclaim. I thought that I wanted all of this praise. But really I thought that I wanted all of this money. I thought that I wanted all of this stability. But really what I want is to be free. Right? So how do we have both? Well, the Magus is pretty good at that, actually. The Magus is kind of the walking the tightrope of will and love, of pleasure and knowledge, right? Of he's walking that tightrope, kind of. So that's what we're having to figure out how to do. And that's kind of what the message I'm going to give right now is, that to be a magician means that you are kind of able to do things that are impossible. People don't know how you're able to move the way you move. People don't know how you're able to stay the way you stay. People don't know how you're able to maintain what you're able to maintain. They don't know how you're able to feel the way you feel. They don't know how you're able to perceive the way that you perceive. And that can make us feel so isolated. That can be so sorrowful. Like, it can be such a sorrowful realization to be like, damn, I'm really out here. That's what I'm getting from these 3 cards. Like, damn, I'm really in this. I'm really, excuse my language, I guess, but I'm really in this bitch. Like, I'm really in this. I'm carrying this weight all on my own. I'm carrying this. I'm really in this bitch. And there ain't no one else in it with me, carrying it with me. I'd be surprised if I see the Hermit here somewhere. But that's what I'm saying. There's only one court. So this is a little bit of an alone. She's a very isolated energy. There's only one court. And it's making sure that there's nothing in her life, in its life, that she don't want in it. So there's a sense of a little bit of isolation going through this right now. A little bit of isolation, and that's okay. Could be going through a breakup. Just saying. Hit the nail on the head with that one, right? Could be going through a breakup too. This is kind of what I'm getting from this, that you could be going through a breakup. You could be going through a breakup. What you thought was making you feel pleasure was not bringing you freedom. And it was actually oppressive to you. And it's so sad, because love is so important to you. Love is like actually really important to you, right? Love is a foundational part of how you do everything that you do, even though you are a loner. Okay? Even though you're a loner, you're totally a loner, right? Love is a huge part of like how you do what you do. So people kind of don't get it. They go, well, how can you move with love if you don't even have anybody around you? You know what I mean? Well, that's what the Magus does. That's what the Magus does. He moves with the unseen forces and he creates, he does his will. He's doing the great work. In order to do the great work, you often have to clear out a lot of the things that are around you. Give yourself time to let this, you're not going to feel like, what I'll say right now is you're not going to feel better because you make yourself feel better. This is one of those things that has to resolve on its own. You got to give it good, sweet time to do its thing. However, with the Magus here, you also have, in the Ace of Discs, you also have everything you need in order to go through the sorrow without being hindered by it. You're not really like, yes, that's what I'm saying. This is deep here. Like, you're okay. You're solid in many ways in this reading. You're processing like what you realize was a deep, oppressive sorrow for yourself. These are like life altering energies. Okay. Like there's not that many there's only one arcana here, which is the Magus. But the Magus is like that. Like these energies here are life altering energies. And what I'm getting is that you are moving forward through this big change of these life altering energies. And you're kind of taking it on the chin. You're taking it on the chin and you're just moving through it in a way that with stability and foundation in a way that you have never had before. I'll be honest here, the stability and foundation that you have is part of the reason why you're taking it so well. And that stability and foundation, you created that. Nobody else gave that to you. And that's another reason why this feels the way that it does. Why you can rest the way you can rest, and why you're taking this big kind of L, you're kind of taking it for the team the way that you are with such strength and grace and maturity, because you're falling back onto a foundation that you had to work your ass off for. And when you had to work your ass off for a foundation like what you have now, the transition from the energy that you're shedding into the energy that you're resting in, it feels more nurturing because you worked hard to have something nurturing for yourself. And you didn't know that you were going to be going through a sorrowful period. You didn't even know that, but you did good because now you are, and you have ample abundance and you have ample foundation to reside in while this big life altering energy is moving through your life. This would be rocking you, right? If you hadn't worked so hard already to get things, because you got your ass kicked at some point too, is what I'm getting here. You got your ass kicked. And from the moment that you got your ass kicked, you were like, okay, let me get this. This is definitely, you got your ass kicked. And from the moment that you got that ass kicking, you were like, I'm not going to let myself get this low ever again. I'm never going to let that happen to me ever again. And so because that is the way things are now, this big life altering thing you're going through, it's not rocking you as hard as it normally would. And so take a deep breath with me and give yourself grace, because that is amazing. Okay. Like, I know, like, really, like, you would be suffering a little bit worse than you are right now if you hadn't worked your ass off to from the last time that like something taught you a lesson, right? I'm surprised the Hierophant isn't here, but he may be. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Hierophant. I think I'm ready to go on to the bottom row. I just want to take a sip of water. Thank anyone and everyone who has been here watching this reading. Just a little bit of personal insight. I'm doing this in a totally new way than I ever have, and I'm extremely grateful for anybody who is here watching this, doing this with me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So let's go on to the bottom row. Another ace. This is to assist the querent in making whatever decision may be necessary. These cards indicate the psychological basis and implications of your issue. This is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck. What I've got right here is that you have come through a cycle where you realized that your will, the way that your mind was feeling connected to higher consciousness. Like, so the Ace of Swords is your mind being connected to all of its ideas, all of its motivations and inspirations and ambitions, and all of those really exciting things that just make you feel like that cosmic drive to create, or that energy that makes you feel alive when you feel mentally exalted, when you feel mentally exhilarated by something that's just grabbed your attention, it's grabbed your interest, right? It's not grabbed you emotionally, let's say. It's not grabbed you physically. It's not grabbed you financially, but it has grabbed you mentally, ideologically, whatever this is. This is the Ace of Swords. It's pulled you into the entire this position where you can feel connected to the rest of the universe, right? Because you are so interested in this thing and you can see patterns connecting to the forces of the universe, right? And then those connections and those patterns in your own life through this thing that you're passionate about, right? Whatever this thing is for you, it is that cosmic spark of motivation and inspiration. You're coming to a cycle here where you've realized the way that you need to take care of what you allow that to be, right? So what you allow that to be significant, whatever that significant thing is for you, you have now learned, you have gone through the physical changes of understanding this mental aspect, right? You've gone through it on how to protect the one from the many, how to have one idea at a time, and how to protect the one thing from the many things. Okay. This is very important. The reason why my tone has changed is because this was something that you were struggling with for a very long time. You were vacillating. You were doing too many different activities. You were doing too many different activities for a very long time. You were putting your energy into one project, one person, one thing, one place, one person, one place, one project, one thing. Go, 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 go. And that's not sustainable. So again, for this position that this is in the reading, this is to help you make the decision about whatever psychological, this is to help you address the psychological basis of the situation, the psychological basis, right? Which is great because you got a lot of air cards here. The psychological basis of the situation was that you were physically, your brain, like the channels in your brain were physically in between one idea and 6 ideas. And it could be more than 6. Okay. That's just the metaphor I'm making because this is the 7 of Swords. And at this time, you are physically beyond the ability to even think that way anymore. You cannot even do it that way anymore. Your brain will not let you vacillate like that anymore. Now, what all of this has to do with the rest of the reading. The Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords are both here. And the Ace of Discs, which I'm just now realizing. But no Ace of Wands, remember? So we started it off like this. There's a Queen of Swords, a Queen a Queen of Swords, a Three of Discs, and an Ace of Cups. Pay attention to the fact that we have an Ace of Discs, an Ace of Cups, and an Ace of Swords. Swords, discs, cups, swords, discs, cups. Where's the fire? Where's the fire? The fire was here and the fire was here. So this is indicative that you went from a 10 to a 4. The oppression is psychologically like quelled when you stop vacillating between so many different things. And I know that's really hard. This is very difficult. This is a metaphor for how you dealt with this emotionally. Okay, so here it is. Now it's coming in. Whenever we have an idea, okay, we want to work on that idea. And to work on another idea means that we're not working on that first idea. Emotions work like this too. Whenever we have an emotional connection, then we have another emotional connection. That means that we're not connecting to that one thing emotionally, right? This is great. This is really kind of what the three of discs represents. It represents that things can only form when the requirement, like when the recipe is all present. Okay. Whenever all of the necessary parts are present, that is when things actually go into the material world and start forming into manifestation and into reality. That will not happen until the right ingredients are present. Okay. So what I'm getting is that when we're working on one thing, we have to take our attention off of it and go do the other thing. And then we're not doing that thing anymore. And that causes us a feeling of sorrow. That causes us like a micro projection of sorrow. That's why we vacillate. That's why we were vacillating, right? Because when we work on one thing and we go, oh, well, I'm going to go abandon this thing to work on this other thing, right? It feels like we're abandoning something. Feels like we're abandoning that thing. And that's causing you to have an unsustainable emotional state. Okay? It's causing you also to have an unsustainable mental state. So what we need to do here is stop turning in on ourselves about what the significance or the value of one certain activity or project or person or thing or significant thing is. There is no difference in one thing and any other thing, okay? There is no difference in one thing and any other thing, okay? That's why we've come to life to understand. That's what we've come into life to understand. That's divine energy. That's divine dissolution. There is no difference between one thing and any other thing. And what was going on here is that you felt like there were different significances. You felt like there were different values. You felt like there was different significances in one thing and in any other thing, so that you felt like working on this project meant more to you than working on that project. Well, guess what? It doesn't. Working on this project does not mean anything more to you than working on that project. Working on this project does not mean anything more to you than working on that project. Working on this project does not mean anything less to you than working on that project, right? It's all the same. What matters is that you're working, right? You get caught up in the minutia of what it means intellectually and emotionally about what you're working on and go, that's the value. Okay, that's not the value. You just have a lot of insight about what things mean. You have a lot of insight about what things mean to you. You have a lot of insight about meaning itself. With the Magus here. You have a lot of insight about meaning. And you can get caught up in the initial steps of creating because you are emotionally and intellectually combining And then the meaning becomes the identity of the thing that you're working on. Okay. I know that's a lot. I know this is this is complicated, but that's essentially, like, are you following me? The thing that you're working on, you assign it an identity based on the values that you see in it, and then you emotionally respond to those values, and then you do or don't work on the thing, and then you do or don't feel bad because you do or didn't work on the thing. And all of that is just nonsense, because in all actuality, what you're doing is you're pushing through life altering emotional energies, and you're still in creation mode. You're still in self improvement mode. You're still in your higher self while all of that is happening. That's what's really going on. So what you don't need to be doing is vacillating into your own thoughts and your own emotions about your own creations. That's too much. I'm surprised the Nine of Swords isn't here. The Seven of Swords is close to the Nine, though. Like, it's not a comfortable place to be, really. It's constantly getting away from you. This was constantly, you had yourself in a space where you were constantly kind of doing too much to get away from yourself. And that's ended now. With the Four of Wands, that's totally over. That's completely over now. Your will has wiped out that energy, and now you're beyond it. Okay, so what's beyond it? Let's go into the last section and find out. Okay, let's see. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I hope that made sense for you. Like, there is no identity value difference in any project you're working on, and any project you're working on, any vocation you have to do, any person that you love. There is no identity vocation. There is no difference in the things that you're doing. Everything that you're doing, you need to look at with a state of neutrality. You need to be more neutral about everything that you do. Let's say you have a job. When you go to work, it should feel just as sacred as when you are doing your passion. When you see your lover, it should feel just as sacred as when you see a stranger. When you see someone who you're not fond of particularly, right? You need to move with that, with a certain sense of sacred neutrality, so that it doesn't affect your sacred neutrality that you carry through the other things in your life, that then will bleed into the other things in your life. Okay. There is no difference in any of the projects that you are working on and in any of the things that you are doing. There is no difference. That's not where, like, that's what the message is. That's not where the work is. That's not actually where your work is. Your work is not there. That's another thing I'm getting with this, is that your work is somewhere other than where you've been thinking that it is. You've been thinking that your work was in the place of, oh, I just got to get them done. I just got to get all of them done, right? That's not where it was. Your work lies in how you're perceiving what you're even doing and how you're feeling about what you're doing. That's where your work is. It's not even about what you're doing. It's about how you perceive and about how you feel about what you're doing. And once you can adjust how you perceive and how you feel the things that you do, everything will dissipate into a place where you're in that flow, where you're truly in that flow. You're the magician. You're not doing anything more than you need. You're not doing anything less than what you need. You're right on the energy. Okay. Oh, wow. Well. These are the last cards. So this is a nice encouragement for you, because yes, clearly you are going through life-altering energies. You've just finished a cycle of completion about the way that you think about something that was very fundamental to the way that you do and feel about your own things in your life. And you just finishing that out. You just finished a cycle that involved that. And here we go. Here's what you're met with. There's that fire. There's the Three of Wands. I'm about to cry. Like, you discovered real virtue. This is one of the best cards in the deck, by the way, Three of Wands. You discovered virtue. You discovered, you weeded it out through adversity, through confusion, through oppression, through stress, through overwhelm. You have actually discerned value again. You've discerned virtue again. You went through a period of time where it got really messy and you didn't even understand clearly what you value. You couldn't see it clearly. There was so much going on that you couldn't even see clearly what you valued. And now you're back in a space where there's a little bit more space around you. You have a lot of space around you with the universe. You have a lot of space and time with the universe around you to feel to feel what you value again and what you value from moment to moment. Because when you're in that lower energy, you're not moving in what you're valuing. You can't even live your life morally. You understand? When you're so stressed out and overwhelmed and you're moving in survival mode, right? You cannot morally live. But when you have time and space and light in your life, which can come from relief given by outside circumstances, but in this particular reading, it came from your own hard work. It came from, let's be real, it came from a natural alignment of timing changing, of events changing and circumstances changing, and it came from you working your ass off. But it also came from this natural, like the thing that it came from the most, the reason why you won, right, about this is because you were discerning. Your own natural sense of discernment combined with natural circumstances changing whenever they did and how they had to enabled you to do this with a little bit of elbow grease too. Like, let's be being real here. That's why I'm explaining it like this in this moment, because there's not a lot here about you working your fingers to the bone, like working super duper fucking hard. Like, that's not really like that present. There was an energy of something being worked to the bone, right? With the 10 of Wands, but that wasn't you working. Like this wasn't like you were working hard because somebody was that's what I need to say. This was not like you were working hard because you wanted to. This was you working hard because you didn't know any other way to do it. You didn't know any other way to survive other than to work that hard. This wasn't you working hard like how you got to a place where you can see your life morally and then you go, I have to work super hard on these projects. That wasn't what this is. That's why I'm trying to explain this. This was before that happens. This was you working super hard because you were emotionally wedged. You were split. You were emotionally torn. So you worked and worked and worked and worked yourself. And the thing that pulled you out of this, right? The thing that got you out of this was a simple completion of what it was your will, your will and your passion for the thing that you feel cosmically, that cosmic inspiration for is so strong that, and you stayed close enough to it, right? You cut other things out of your life with that cuts other things out of your life, right? So that you could no longer feel that sense of working so hard for something because you don't know any other way to do it. You discerned your way out of it, and you also, your passion gave you enough pleasure and love through this. So you were working super hard because it brought you enough pleasure to do so. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it brought you enough pleasure to do so. So you kept doing it. That's why I'm explaining it like this. This wasn't like somebody was on the outside of you making you work super hard and tormenting you. This was you, out of not knowing any other way, finding enough pleasure in working that hard to do something. Okay? And again, I'm trying to bring it all together. What relieved you from this? What relieved you from this was the fact that your cosmic inspiration is strong enough to be a discerning factor in your life to remove things that don't need to be in your life. Okay? Totally remove things that don't need to be in your life. So then all that was left was your virtues. All that was left now then was your values. And that's beautiful, because you didn't have any fire here before, remember? The only fire was the fire of oppression. It was stifling everything. You couldn't breathe. But now you know what your virtues are. So the way that you will work will not be from a place of oppression, of your own internal oppression, right? About those value systems and right. It might not even be value systems or like physical projects. This could be relationship, right? Like, remember, tarot is universal. So it could be about a relationship. It could be about projects you're working on. It could be about various different things. But this is the way that the energy is shaping up. Okay. So you realize, like, that chapter's over. And now you have time and space around yourself, and you're in the light of the sun, and you can see so clearly what your virtues are. So congratulations. Congratulations. To be able to feel and hear and feel the sun and see the sun shine on what one's values are and have space and time to do so is an incredible gift. You may be still going through some of these tumultuous emotional energies. You still have to let this sorrow pass. But you know what your values are now. And they are being illuminated by the sun, and you have time and space to create and explore those values. In every part of your life, this has spread. There is no part of your life now where the sun is not clearly like lighting up what your values are. Do you understand me? There is no excuse. There's no reason to say now that we don't see, that we couldn't see, that there was too much going on so that we couldn't see what our true will was or what our values are. There's no excuse for that. We know exactly what our values are now, and we can feel it. So I'm proud of you. I know that it was sad to go through this, but you listen to me. You will never forget this. You will never forget these sense of value. Like, that's the way your values are. They're so deeply, it's a whole new universe. Like, it's so deeply formative, right? That this is now your new physical world. This is your new physical world that you have. This is physical. This is in the physical world now. Your values are in the physical world. Like, do you realize, I'm sorry, I keep saying it, do you realize how big of a deal that is? Your values are clearly in the physical world now. Before, they were not clearly in the physical world. You could not feel them because there was too much emotion coming from these things that you were feeling oppressed by. You were feeling oppressed by certain things, and it was making you unable to understand your values. And now you can clearly feel and understand your values, and you're not going to let things change this. Your passion is clear. You're close to it. You're building from it. You have everything that you need. You are very intelligent and wise, and the knowledge needed to do these things, and you want freedom. And you're embodying freedom. I know that it looks like a bit of a mess, but you're freer right now than you were when all of this started, okay? So congratulations. The sun is shining on your values now, and you can see your values. So follow them every day in the moment. Follow what you value instead of following the judgment about the emotion, about the oppression, about the sorrow, about the vacillation, about the ideas, about the things, about the people that we didn't get to see, or the project that we didn't get to do, or the thing that we are working on, but we're not working on that thing because we're working on this one. No, that doesn't matter anymore. What you see now is that you're working on, you're valuing something, and that's going to overshadow the fact that, oh, well, I'm not working on that project because I'm working on this one. Well, it doesn't matter. You're working, and that is enough for you. You got yourself in a pickle where working wasn't enough for you. Working is enough for you. It is. Doing one meaningful thing each day, that's enough for you. Don't let anybody make you feel like it's not, okay? Don't let anybody come into your world and make you feel like you're not doing enough. Doing one meaningful, important, and worthwhile completed thing each day, even one, that should be enough, and that's enough. And you know what? Even if it's not in one day, maybe it takes 2 days to do it. Maybe it takes 3 days. Maybe it takes a month. It doesn't matter. But you got up every day and you were working toward it. That should be enough for you. Don't let anybody make you feel like that's not enough. Or anything that you're not getting make you feel like that's not enough. Or any relationship that you're not getting, or any person that you're not getting, or any pleasure that you're not getting out of something because you're working on something instead of doing something else. Oh, I'm not getting the pleasure out of doing that because I'm working on this thing instead. That doesn't matter. You're being ungrateful. You're working. Give yourself some credit for how hard you work, okay? Don't be so critical. Now, I'm going to close the reading with a quick prayer meditation. Thank you all for being here with me. I know this was a long one, but it was a good one. I would really appreciate anyone who would hit the like button and anyone who would subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to build a channel here, and I feel like I'm really passionate about tarot, and I really want to build a channel. It's something that I've been over and over. I keep thinking, oh, you don't want to do that. You got so many other projects going on, you know. But this is something that I really deeply have wanted to do for such a long time. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have done it. Working like this was enough for me. Working like this is everything for me, and it was enough for me. And I appreciate the time that I've had to be here doing this. Thank you. I want to thank the Spirit that has set over the operations of this great wisdom for being present during this reading. You may leave or you may stay, depending on what you see fit to do. Thank you.